have been, has been and had been, otherwise known as the present perfect continuous tense and the past perfect continuous tense. These two tenses are some of the most confusing as well as complicated tenses in the English language, and not without good reason. Hey guys, it's Reyna and today I'm going to help you solve all your doubts regarding these two tenses. Today I'm going to show you both how to use these tenses as well as where to use them. First, let's start with the basics. How to use them. The present. I, you, we, they and plural nouns are all followed by have been. I have been. You have been. We have been. They have been. The books have been. He, she, it, singular nouns, uncountable nouns, and names of people or places are all followed by has been. He has been. It has been. The table has been. The water has been. Paris has been. Now the past. This is way easier. Why? Because had been is accompanied by all the subjects. I had been. You had been. He had been. Paris had been. The water had been. The books had been. And keep going. Now, to be able to use tenses properly, you also need to know where to use them. So, now I'll tell you all three uses of these two tenses. The first use, when you're recounting travel experiences. For example, I have been to Mexico before. Now listen to my second sentence. I have visited Mexico before. My second sentence is an example of the present perfect tense. Now here's the difference. In the first sentence, I followed been with the preposition to. However, in the second sentence, it was only visited. A common error among English speakers is that they put the to while writing present perfect, or they do not write the to at all. Some other examples are, we have been to France 3 times. She has been to Italy many times. You can also frame it as a question. You can ask, have you been to New York? And you can answer, yes, I've been to New York, or no, I haven't been to New York. Notice that in the affirmative sentence, I said I've instead of I have. Apostrophe VE is a contracted form of have. It is pronounced as v, I've. And in the negative sentence, instead of saying have not, I said haven't. Haven't. H-A-V-E-N apostrophe T. I haven't. Now, here's a very important rule. When using the present perfect continuous tense to essentially state your travel experiences, you cannot, under any circumstance, use a specific time. You cannot say, I have been to Mexico last year. Despite how correct it may seem to your ears, it is wrong. We are talking about general experiences. Present perfect continuous is used to speak about general experiences. Very generally, our life experiences. Now, how do we use had been when we are referring to travel experiences? I will explain this a little bit more in the second section, but as a brief overview for you, you use had been when there are two actions or events that have happened in the past. For example, when I went to Paris last year, I had never been to France before. What this means is that up until a point of time, which was last year when I went to Paris. Before that, I had never been to France. Now, let's learn more about the second use. We use have been and has been when we are talking about an action that has happened in the past and is still being continued in the present. For example, I have been living here for 3 years. Or, I have been living here since 2017. What this means is that at a specific point of time in the past, which is 3 years ago, I started living here. And I have continued to live here and will do so for the foreseeable future. Here's another example. Mr. Afton has been watching TV since midday. Mr. Afton started watching TV at midday and he is still watching TV. Watching TV for long periods of time is not good for your eyes. So yeah, don't. Now, we use had been, like I mentioned before, when there are two actions that have happened in the past. One continuous action and one single finished action. For example, I had been living here for 3 years until I finished school. What this means is that at a specific point of time in the past, which is 3 years ago, I started to live here. Then I continued to live here until I finished school, and now I no longer live here. Here's another example. Mr. Afton had been watching TV since midday until he stopped to go to work. Mr. Afton started to watch TV at midday. He continued to watch TV and stopped when he had to go to work, and now he no longer watches TV. Now the third use. If you guys are familiar with online shopping and when you receive a package, you might have received a mail from the company stating that your package has been delivered to your destination. This sentence is an example of the passive voice. The opposite of the passive voice is the active voice, which in this case would be, we have delivered your package to your destination. What the passive voice does is, we remove the focus away from the subject, which is we, and move it to the direct object, which in this case is the package. This is because the company does not want to focus on themselves, but the parcel, which is what is important right now. The passive voice is a method used by companies and newspapers and politicians when they want to take the blame away from themselves, or when they want to shift the focus away from the self or the subject to a more pressing or more important object. Here is another example. Mistakes have been made. This is the passive voice. And the active voice of this is, I have made a mistake. Now, notice this. The passive sentence is admitting that yes, mistakes have been made, but it is conveniently hiding who has made the mistake. We are not saying here that I have made the mistake. All we're doing is, yes, a mistake was made. Who made it? We're not telling you. Now, how do you use had been in the passive voice? Once again, you use had been when there are two actions in the past, one continuous action and one single finished action. Here's an example. The assignments had been given to the students just as the holidays had started. The continuous action here is had been given, and the single finished action is started. The continuous action will always be in the past perfect continuous tense, obviously. And the single finished action will always be in the simple past. I hope you all have been able to learn something from my video. This video is actually dedicated to all my English teachers who have struggled so much to ingrain the knowledge of tenses within my brain. They give me an endless amount of confidence, without which I wouldn't be standing here in front of the camera right now. Despite this, my sister still seems very determined to chuck my confidence out of the window. Please get her to stop.
A few moments later.
Excuse me, would you prefer if I chucked you out the window instead? My dear viewers, could you please tell me what she was teaching you today? I heard something about beans. Ooh, was it soya beans? Or kidney beans?
Neither. I was teaching them grammar.
Really? Grammar? That's boring. I only know 2 beans. Ooh, and the most important of them all, Mr. Bean. Just leave all these grammar beans behind and go with Mr. Bean. He'll guide you for life. Definitely not trying to cut blood circulation into her arm.
Yeah, that. Well, I hope you guys have all enjoyed my videos. And if you guys still do have doubts after this, you're more than welcome to tell me in the comment section and I will reply to you. Thank you for watching. Bye.